Hello everybody and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Video Clips, and as usual I'll start with a couple of announcements. First of all, one of our Institute students is doing a project on eating disorders, and what we are in need of is people who are currently dealing with anorexia or people who have recovered from anorexia to interview. And so if you want information about this, by the way, your anonymity will be protected. We just need information. We don't need to use your name or anything like that. But you can send me an email at pampopper@msn.com if you would be willing to participate in this research project. Second thing, the Diet and Lifestyle course starts in just 3 weeks. I can't even believe it's going to be June in just 3 weeks. It doesn't even feel like we had a spring here in Ohio. It's still dismal and cold today, by the way. And remember that in the summertime is when the celebrity instructors like Dr. Esselstyn, Dr. Barnard, Dr. Goldhammer, Dr. Moss, Dr. Schultz, all the celebrity instructors do summer semester. That's the only time we have those instructors. So if you want to learn from the best of the best of the best, the summertime is when you want to take this course. Also during the summer, I'm going to be teaching a course on cancer, nutrition and cancer treatment on Monday nights. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, let us know. Same email address, pampopper@msn.com. And one last thing, I wrote a beautiful little document this week on all the ways that you can get involved in helping Wellness Forum Health grow. We have several opportunities. You can be a brand ambassador and you get all kinds of special goodies like private conference calls with Peter Bregan and the stars of our world. You can be an affiliate and offer memberships and educational programs. You can join our provider network. You can start a Healthy Girlfriend chapter. You can help our foundation. I mean, lots of things that you can do. So if you're sitting out in the audience there and thinking, you know, I really should be doing something to spread the word, we have all kinds of ways that you can spread the word. So pampopper@msn.com. Email me. Let's talk. All right? And we can talk about any of these things. By the way, people sometimes are shocked that I have phone conversations with people. Perfectly willing to have phone conversations with people. We're strange folks here at Wellness Forum Health. We like to get to know the people we do business with and our students and that sort of thing. So we answer the phone here 12 hours a day, and all of us are willing to talk to you. So contact us, all right? Okay. I'm going to start out with something that I don't usually talk about, but I think it's really important. It's important because it's great research I want to pass on to you, and also because my good friend and business partner, Dr. Peter Bregan, the eminent psychiatrist, sent me this study and said I should pay attention to it. And anytime he sends me anything, I think it's important. So, according to a Harvard study that's been going on for the last 80 years, happiness and relationships are keys to achieving health and maintaining optimal health. The study began in 1938 when researchers started tracking the health of 268 Harvard sophomore men as part of the Harvard Study of Adult Development. It turned into one of the longest studies ever conducted on adults and involved collecting data on both physical and mental health. All the subjects were male because at the time Harvard didn't admit female students. Over the years, additional subjects were added, including several hundred Boston inner city residents, the wives of both the Harvard and the Boston group, and then eventually their children, because the researchers were interested in collecting data on how this type of, how these outcomes translated into future generations. The outcomes of the subjects were widely divergent. Some of them ended up being drug addicts, and others went on to have spectacularly successful careers. And some pretty famous people were part of it, including President John F. Kennedy and Washington Post editor Ben Bradley. 19 of the original group are still alive today. They're in their mid-90s. The researchers looked at a lot of different aspects of the subjects' lives, including their health, successes, failures, and relationships. They were surprised to discover that close relationships are the most important factor in determining happiness and physical health. At age 50, good relationships were a better predictor of physical health than cholesterol levels, and having a happy marriage was found to lead to better health. Subjects who had happy marriages reported that they remained in relatively good moods even when they had extreme physical pain, while those in unhappy marriages reported feeling more physical and emotional pain. Quality of relationships was found to be a better predictor of long and happy lives than social class, intelligence, genetics, money, or fame. So I guess that old adage, money can't buy everything, is really, really true. This was true of both the Harvard graduates and the residents of the inner city. Those who reported the strongest interpersonal relationships were the ones who were both the happiest and also the healthiest from a physical perspective. As for length of life, those who lived longer, remained healthy, did not smoke, and did not drink alcohol to excess. The participants who had strong social connections had significantly less cognitive decline as they aged as compared to those who were not socially connected. Now, one very interesting result that came from this study is that contrary to popular belief, people can change. There's been a lot of debate about how much our personality characteristics and beliefs and habits and everything are ingrained and instilled in us, and how permanent they are at a pretty early age. But in this particular study, the subjects who were in bad shape in their 20s but changed their ways actually ended up quite well, just as well off as those subjects who had enjoyed great relationships and great health all along. So I've always said it's never too late to make good and healthy changes in your life and the way you live your life, and this study confirms that. Since the study's been going on for several decades, there have been several different directors of the study. Psychiatrist George Vaillant was the leader from 1972 until 2004, and he reported in a book he wrote on the study that 6 factors predicted healthy aging for the Harvard men. Those were physical activity, not abusing alcohol and not smoking, having the ability to cope with life's challenges, remaining at a healthy weight, and having a stable marriage. For the men in the inner city, education was also an added factor. The more education the men got, the more likely they were to stop smoking, eat better, and to use alcohol in moderation. Now, the current director is a guy by the name of Robert Waldinger. He's a psychiatrist. And here is a quote that he said, and I think this is important. He said, "Loneliness kills. It's as powerful as smoking or alcoholism." In a TED Talk on the topic, he reported that, quote, "Good relationships don't just protect our bodies, they protect our brains." He added that in the relationships described by participants as good, the couples often reported that they bickered and fought, but as long as they felt that they could count on each other no matter what, they had better physical and mental health in spite of the conflicts. One thing I'll mention is when we talk about social connections and relationships, some people might be thinking, well, I don't have social relationships that are all that good or not enough of them, and I don't have a good personal relationship. I remember something that Dr. Bregan said when he presented at our conference in 2012, when I first met him. And he was talking about this issue from the stage when he was giving his presentation. And he said, you know something, if you're lonely, you can change that in the next couple of weeks. You can go meet people, you can get involved in something, you can tell friends, you just call people you know to ask them to do things. He said loneliness is not a permanent thing and it can be fixed pretty quickly. Well, back to Dr. Waldinger, the psychiatrist who's currently director of the study. He's a Zen priest who seems to have learned a lot from directing the study. He meditates daily, he makes relationships a priority, he says, and I guess so should we all. And it's a good reminder sometimes to focus on the important things in life, which are the people we know and love, and spending time with them and doing things that are meaningful with people who we love and care about. And I know it's really easy to just get involved in life and doing things all the time, but not really having the quality of life that we should have as a result of relationships. Okay, so on to another topic. This is really interesting. It goes to a point that I talk about a lot, which is excessive testing, overdiagnosis, overtreatment. According to a peer-reviewed article in the British Medical Journal Opinion, having routine blood tests is both wasteful and harmful. 3 doctors reviewed data from the United Kingdom National Health Service, which is thought to be a whole lot more efficient than many other health systems in the other developed countries. One of the reasons is that the National Health Service seems to be more willing to take a look at the efficacy of things and to ask the hard questions like, does this work? Should we do it? Is it worth the investment that we make in it? So the NHS consequently spends less money per capita on lab tests than most others, and it reports fewer errors. Even so, these 3 doctors in their investigation showed that there was considerable and unwarranted variation in the amount of money spent on blood tests in acute hospital settings. They write that, quote, requesting a standard battery of blood tests without due regard to clinical indication has become the norm, with no distinction made between patients with a variety of presenting complaints from chest pain to fractures. Now, medicine used to be practiced differently. Ordering blood tests and images and other diagnostics, it required justification. And one of the reasons was that it was sometimes cumbersome to order these things. They were expensive. But now it's very easy. The costs have gone down. So it makes it less likely that careful consideration will be used before ordering them. Routine tests have become the norm. The researchers report that in the years 2014 and 15, 230 biochemistry and 47 million blood tests were ordered at a cost of over 415 million British pounds. That translates about 30% more, so we're probably talking about $600 million. The cost throughout the NHS system was estimated at $3 billion for this. Today, the ordering of a battery of tests without consideration of patients' individual complaints is harmful in several ways. It's extraordinarily expensive. It results in over-reliance on lab tests at the expense of clinical judgment, and patients can be overtreated. Doctors from all specialties do this, and this, I'll give you some data that just amazed me. Orthopedic surgery departments ordered 895 liver function and 307 clotting tests for 216 acute trauma patients in a 1-month period. Now, only 4 of the patients had a history of liver disease, and only 10 were on blood thinners. So they were just ordering routine tests for everybody, and it didn't have anything to do with the actual health status of the patients they were taking care of. The researchers' review determined that lab tests performed in conjunction with elective surgery almost never impacted anything. I mean, it didn't change the anesthesia. It did do some bad things. It produced false results and was excessively expensive due to the fact that the tests were often redundant or resulted in unnecessary postponement of surgery. So they aggravated the heck out of the people that the tests were given to, but they didn't help at all. They say that a lot of testing is performed, quote unquote, because we can, and is further driven by things like fear of missing something or the potential for lawsuits. They suggest that before ordering a test, doctors should ask themselves if the result of the test will change anything about the management of the patient. And by the way, this ordering tests because we can, I've heard that said before. In fact, one thing, I remember this as I was reading this article. I was at a holiday party many years ago at a neighbor's house in my community, and a physician from Ohio State University was there, practiced at the medical center there, and I think she'd had a couple drinks too many and was talking about the incredible long battery of tests that they run on some of the patients who come into the ER and that sort of thing, and somebody, it wasn't me actually, asked at this party, this dinner party, so why do you run so many tests? And she said, because we are Ohio State University Medical Center and we can. And I thought, oh my gosh, I mean, I wonder if the 4 people they're doing this stuff to know. So it goes on here. This is a better place. What I'm reporting to you here, this is one of the best places in the country in terms of being conservative about it. You can only imagine what it's like here. Well, the researchers conclude, quote, when it comes to ordering laboratory tests, there should be nothing routine about decision-making that can affect both the patient's care and National Health Service finances. As clinicians, we have a duty to lead culture change as effective stewards of clinical resources who are capable of playing an active part in the long-term sustainability of our health service. In the current political and economic climate, the stakes could not be higher. And I say amen to that, and we need to pay attention to that here. Lots of changes are happening in healthcare. But one of the things that has to happen is we have got to start looking at the economics of a lot of the things that we do that have absolutely no value to anybody except making drug companies and companies that sell diagnostics richer. So need to be a lot more conservative. All right, that's all for today. As usual, pass this on to anybody who you think would enjoy watching it, and I'll be back to you on Thursday with more news.